Hello and welcome to This Life of Mine, the show where our guests pick the places, people, possessions, music and memories that have made them who they are. Now, if you've ever seen a celebrity or a supermodel's face looking particularly incredible at, say, the Oscars or the Met Gala or on the cover of Vogue or Vanity Fair, the chances are that my guest today has had a hand in that. Today, she's best known as a business mogul whose eponymous makeup line has become, without question, one of the most successful luxury brands in the world. And as a makeup artist, she has worked with everyone. The world's most glamorous women, Nicole Kidman, Jennifer Aniston, Salma Hayek, Penelope Cruz, to name just a few. I am so excited that she's here on the show today. Are you ready?
Darling, always ready for you.
Then take us away.
I'm Charlotte Tilbury. Welcome to This Life of Mine.
I've got some of your magic cream on today.
Darling, you are definitely...
Can you tell?
Got that Tilbury glow.
Really?
I can always tell. Actually, some people...
You can tell when you see people.
I can always tell when I see people. I really can, because it plumps out the skin. And I've had people come up to me going, I'm wearing your magic cream. I'm like, you're not wearing magic cream, darling. You are not wearing magic cream. Because their skin, it just preps it for makeup, but it also plumps it out.
See, but that, to me, if someone said to me, we're going to plump out your skin, I feel I've got a face that doesn't need to be plumped.
No, darling.
Do you know what I mean? I don't want to use the word plump.
Listen, smoothed, hydrated, plumped, lifted. That's all it does in 28 seconds.
Well,
It was born out of necessity, darling. All the supermodels backstage, darling.
Look, I'm so excited to talk to you about your picks are brilliant. And there's so many things I want to talk to you about. And we're going to talk about a person, possession, memory, a great piece of music that you've chosen. Let's start on your place. Tell us the place that you've chosen to talk about on the show today.
The place that we have chosen to speak about on the show today is Ibiza.
Tell me about Ibiza. Why is the party island of Ibiza what you wanted to talk about on the show today?
It's where I was brought up. So not a lot of people know, but I was brought up in Ibiza. My parents went there when I was 8 months old. I went to school there until I was 13 before they kind of tried to send me off to boarding school to sort of, I don't know, maybe kind of straighten me out. It never really worked. But I have to say it all began there. I think Ibiza, the freedom. My father was an artist. My mother was a producer. This melting pot of creativity and freedom has really had a huge influence on my life and led me to where I am today. Just, I think, the whole thing of children should be seen and not heard is just not the case there. We would be kind of dragged out to dinner parties and parties with my parents. We'd go to the Coup Club. We'd see James Brown performing, or whether Bob Marley when he went to Ibiza. I mean,
Grace Jones used to come round your house.
Exactly, all of those kind of performers. Yeah, they were all friends with my parents. But we lived this life that was kind of amazing, and sort of going to the clubs at sort of like 9 years old, swimming around in the swimming pool with a massive paper mache dragon slide, and kind of it was the sort of Studio 54 of Europe, I would imagine. I never went to Studio 54, but I would imagine, having seen images of that, that's very much kind of the world. And the way people dress and the influence of makeup, and seeing that as a young child, and then sort of crashing out in the kind of, VW bus, when they were kind of carried on party, it was just such a different time. And I think being exposed to all of that, and a lot of actors, writers, designers, and also the way my parents sort of brought me up, they really believed in limitless thinking and creative visualization and manifestation and positive thinking. They were very bohemian. So I think all of that, I know has had a massive effect on the way that I think, and definitely kind of creating this company that I've created and the people that work with me, I've very much kind of, brought that kind of type of mindset, that dare to dream it, dare to believe it, dare to do it mindset of do not limit yourself in life. And that's very much due to the way that I was brought up in Ibiza, and that free thinking that anything is possible, and the creativity that I think, my father being an artist and being surrounded by so many artists and fashion people, I think, the sense of colour, shade, light, the way that all of that is played out, going into his artist studio and hanging out with all of his artist mates has ended up having a huge effect on, obviously, on what I've kind of ended up revolutionising in makeup.
It's an interesting place, Ibiza, because there's sort of residents who live there, and then there's people who come for a week to just get off their heads and get drunk. Yeah. Put it this way. I come to join you in Ibiza. Let's say we're having a day in Ibiza. What are we doing? Where are we going? What are we drinking? What are we eating?
Well, can I just preface that by starting off by saying Ibiza is actually the third most magnetic place on the earth. And there's a rock called Esvedra. And that is actually, the legend goes where Ulysses passed and the sirens were. And actually that rock, when the boats still go around it to this day, their dials go off They don't work.
Really?
They don't work. And so it has this tiny little island in the Mediterranean, has a huge magnetism. And it has become a, global dance music place in the world where kind of, people go and rave and whatever. And it is amazing. This tiny little island has had that kind of effect. I have to say, my parents were part of the pioneers of Ibiza. They went there in 1960s.
Wow.
And then moved there in 73. So really, and it was just kind of, a little fishing village with kind of like, lots of the amazing women in their old back dresses and petticoats. I mean, I still remember it. They even helped start the first club, Amnesia. The pioneers really of Ibiza that kind of went there and created what it was.
Such a good name for a club.
Yeah, Amnesia.
Amnesia, isn't it? It's such a good name for a club.
It is. And so if you came to Ibiza and hung out with me, I mean, for me, it's like I very much, I love going to Formentera, I love going to Ibiza, I love sort of having lots of long lunches, reading our books by the pool, partying, dancing. But it's, sitting around the lunch table, there'll always be lots of interesting people and lots of conversations. And I love to mix people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different ages together. I think the melting pot, that's how I was brought up and that's what I love.
This is interesting, right? Because I was thinking about you on my way in today. Look, your talents and your skills are clear and they're there for everybody to see, and it's an immense gift. The thing I'm continually impressed by you is the thing I see in you. You have this ability to mix in every single social environment.
Yeah, fun.
And remain completely yourself. So
Authentic.
I think you would be the same person sat in a pub
Correct.
with my mates when I grew up to sitting in
a boardroom,
Buckingham Palace,
Buckingham Palace,
with the royal family. You are authentic to yourself at all times. And do you think it was this upbringing of being around this mix of people that you seem to gravitate towards at all points?
Thank you. That's so kind of you. That is exactly. I think for me, it is really important to be authentic in yourself. And I think that is actually part of, I think, why I've kind of achieved what I've achieved. By being just genuinely who you are, we now know, do you know about authenticity? That we know that now with social media, authenticity is something that really cuts through. When someone gives a great speech, for, a politician, a great love song or whatever, a hit song, they're always speaking from the heart. But we now can measure that. It's the thing called the toroidal field. So when you speak from the heart, it has literally, it's 40,000 times, it has an electromagnetic pulse, which is much more powerful than the brain's. And you can measure it up to 4 miles away from you. So I think authenticity and that way of being brought up in Ibiza where that total sense of freedom, that be who you want to be, mix with everyone. I mean, we have friends who lived in a cave, we had rock stars, royalty, whatever, all a big sort of melting pot with everyone kind of hanging out together. I think has made it so that that's where I'm most comfortable. I don't want to be segregated to one group. I love all people, everyone, and that's where the fun and the magic happens.
Let's move on to your next selection, which really does relate to your place. And I'm so interested to hear you talk about this. Tell us the possession that you've chosen to talk about on the show today.
So the possession I've chosen to talk about is my logbook. My parents, because we had this kind of, I went to a Spanish school and then they were like, I go to the local Morna Valley school, and they were like, darling, I mean, they're quite eccentric, my parents. They were like, we think it'd be really great if you went off to, there's this man called Ra, named after the sun god, and he's an ex-Oxford Don, and he started this incredible school called The History of the Universe. And we think it'd be fantastic for Charlotte. And there's 3 boys, Tim, Tom and Torno and Charlotte, and we're all going to go to this amazing school. And
hearing about your life makes me feel like you must have watched Absolutely Fabulous like it was a documentary. It's just a fly on the wall documentary about a regular family.
Guess what my mother's name is?
Not Patsy.
It is.
No, stop. Oh my God. Sorry, go on, carry on. You're all being shipped off to this school.
So we go off to the school. And, we arrived day one and Ra is sitting there cross-legged with a headdress and a ruby in the centre of it. And he's fasting and he goes, right, we have to take out your books. And he goes, right, okay, it's called The History of the Universe. And day one is 1 billion BC. Anyway, and he teaches us about astrophysics. And part of our homework is telepathy, which is just, we think is fantastic. But he's amazing. What was incredible about Ra is that he ended up at 11 years old. He stretched my mind in dimensions I just couldn't at the time could never have conceived of, and still look back and think the stuff that I wrote and the kind of quantum physics that he taught us and all the rest of it, I was just, it was amazing. And that has ended up having a huge effect on me. And anyway, one day it was hilarious because we were only there for 4 months, actually, and we were playing an intergalactic game which we had made out of 1 peseta pieces. So we had one was a white dwarf, one was a red star, one was a black hole. And anyway, it was Tim, Tom and Torna and I. And then one day, so we were there and we were playing this game, and one of them was like, "You've eaten my red dwarf, with my black hole has eaten your red dwarf." And we started shouting, and the intergalactic game went everywhere. And he went, "Okay, this has got to stop. This is not beautiful anymore. You'll have to leave." And we were like, "What?" And he chucked us all out and expelled us.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And
just for that one?
I think do you know what? I think
Or was that the straw that broke the camel's back?
I think actually he had bigger things in mind. He ended up going on to run this kind of movement, which actually is massive.
Basically, there's this notion, and I think this is what's in the book, from what I can work out, of which much I can't, is this idea that people are split into 4 distinct energy and strategy types.
Yes.
Right? So it's generators, projectors, manifestors and reflectors.
Yeah.
And 7 authority types, which is emotional, sacral, splenic, environmental, self-projected, lunar cycle and ego.
Ego, yeah.
So which are you? I think you're a manifester.
I'm a manifester, yeah. I am a manifester. To be honest with you, I did get massively into it. I met his son and he did a whole thing on me, but I didn't really see Ra. I would see him now and again after that, but I think I am a manifester or a generator. I don't know, Sometimes I think you can be a generator manifester. Definitely park your ego at the door. I never believe the hype. I just think ego is something that in life, whatever you do, stay grateful and humble for whatever you've been given. And I have to say that feeling of gratitude is the most wonderful, euphoric feeling in the world. That's partly to do with success.
I think the place I probably struggle most with ego is in comparison, in that notion that it's the thief of joy and all that stuff when I'm looking at other people rather than just looking at all of the blessings that I've got.
Exactly, all the blessings you have. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's a hard one, that, isn't it?
I don't know whether I'm very much look forward and think about what you can create in your life and what you have. I genuinely am really joyful for other people and their successes. Be grateful for what you have and don't believe the hype.
I love a classic holiday movie, whether it's The Oddball Family, A Lovable Elf, a child who's home alone, or of course a prince who just needs help learning the true meaning of Christmas. Now, to make these holiday favourites, it takes a huge team of talented people, from actors to editors to props people, the sound crew, so much more. And when it comes to building such a team, whether it's for the entertainment industry or a wide range of other industries, you need to hire the right people. And the best way to do that is with ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/lifeofmine. Building a high-performing team is essential, but finding the right people can take time that you simply don't have. That's why you can rely on ZipRecruiter. The moment you post a role, ZipRecruiter scans thousands of resumes and actively sends you the most qualified candidates. You're not going to be there sifting through a mountain of applications. You're reviewing top talent delivered directly to you. With ZipRecruiter's advanced resume database, you can instantly unlock their contact info. You reach out first, you move faster, you hire better. It's efficient, it's brilliant, and it's no wonder ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site on G2. If you want top talent, go to ZipRecruiter. Make your hiring a little merrier with ZipRecruiter. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Just go to this exclusive web address right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ziprecruiter.com/lifeofmine. Again, that's ziprecruiter.com/lifeofmine. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Regular listeners of This Life of Mine will know that really on the show, often we talk about great moments in people's lives, whether that's great memories or people that they love or songs or films. But you know and I know that life isn't always full of just great moments, and we all have times when everything just kind of piles up, whether that's work or family, friendships, relationships, whatever it might be, and you think I might need to speak to somebody. I've had one of those stretches fairly recently, actually. And I'm away from home at the moment. I'm working in New York, and I tried to find a therapist online, and honestly, it was hopeless. Every therapist I found, they were either fully booked, or they were out of network, or they were charging prices which made me think, sorry, does this come with a yacht? And I remember thinking it really shouldn't be this hard. Affordable, accessible mental health care shouldn't be something that's out of reach, but too often it is. And look, if we use insurance for physical health, why shouldn't our mental health get the same treatment? And that's exactly why I love what Ruler is doing. Here's the deal with Ruler. Most online therapy platforms don't work with insurance at all, which means you'll be stuck paying out of pocket or signing up for some incredibly expensive monthly subscription. But Ruler does it differently. They partner with over 100 insurance plans, which means the average copay is just $15 a session. And Ruler doesn't just match you with the first available therapist. They actually take the time to understand your goals, and then they will give you a curated list of therapists who are in network and genuinely aligned with what it is that you need. So if you go to ruler.com/lifeofmine, you can get started today. That's RULA.com/lifeofmine for quality therapy that is covered by insurance. There are no wait lists, no endless emails. Ruler helps you find someone who is available as soon as tomorrow. Because finding the right therapist, well, that could be life-changing. Thousands of people are already using Ruler to get affordable, high-quality therapy that is actually covered by insurance. So if you visit ruler.com/lifeofmine, you can get started straight away. And after you sign up, they're going to ask you how you heard about them. And it would be great if you could support our show and let them know that we sent you. That's RULA.com/lifeofmine. You deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget. So talk to me about starting this extraordinary brand that you started. There has to be an element of ego on some level to be working as a makeup artist, using other people's products and going, nah, I can do this.
For me, I think every human being can achieve whatever they want in life. And why do they have to limit themselves? And I was brought up to think that way, and I'm naturally curious, and I'm naturally like, well, why is it done a certain way? So I think that is how my brain's hardwired. I don't think any human being should limit themselves. So why can't you go on to achieve? I just have very big dreams.
Isn't it society that limits children, though?
Absolutely. I mean, there's just been a study that NASA's come out with to say that everyone is born a genius. And then by the time it got to a certain age, it was like 2% were left as geniuses because the creative thinking and the imagination was kind of stamped out of them by conformity and education. And so everyone is a genius and anyone can achieve whatever they want in life. But most of the time we're told, you can't achieve this, you won't do that, you won't get this. And I'm constantly being told, oh, you're crazy, or you won't get this, or you won't do that. And actually just sort of remaining in that manifestation mindset and that positive mindset that you can achieve whatever you want to achieve in life, and actually don't be limited by what people tell you can't do. And actually just writing everything down at the beginning of my career, I manifested pretty much my whole life what I wanted to achieve.
How old were you when you did
So when I was 13, I remember walking to school and just saying, I want to make my mark in the world. And then I remember kind of being at boarding school, being a redhead with green eyes, going, I wish someone would tell me what colour suited me, what type of face shape I have, how to make my eyes look bigger, how to maximise my potential. And I remember kind of really visualising at the age of 13 what my brand would be. That was really kind of the kernel of when it started.
That's nuts to me to even be thinking in the sense of a brand.
I know, well, now I think it wasn't that normal, but I look back now and I can connect the dots to so many things. And also, instead of, tuck boxes we'd have at school, I had this amazing beauty editor who actually ended up writing a note to me. This beauty editor gave me this box of makeup, and it was, so I go back to school instead of with tuck with loads of makeup. And then I ended up trading it at school and then doing this kind of girls' makeup and saying, oh, with your blue eyes, with your green eyes. And I kind of, my father being an artist, and I started to kind of work it all out really at kind of boarding school. And then that same beauty editor, later on when I was 19 and in London, there was a recession going on. It was really hard for me to get a job and break through. And I had this little note from the beauty editor and it said, knock it to them, Charlotte, I know you'll be a star. And I would cling to that note and I'd be like, okay, we're going to get through this, we're going to do this, we're going to, and because most people were saying, well, listen, we'd love to give you a job, but actually the big people in the industry are kind of dropping their rates and there's not even enough jobs for them, so we can't even give you a start.
Which I'm sure many people listening today would associate with hearing that response, particularly in the way that the world is now. So, what advice would you give to the young 14, 15, 16-year-old person who is looking at you, looking at your brand, looking at what you've built, looking at your career as a makeup designer, as a unbelievably successful business mogul now today? What advice would you give to that person who is thinking, God, I just don't know how to break through?
I would always say my motto in life is dare to dream it, dare to believe it, and dare to do it. But belief is the biggest thing. I think most people have dreams, and where they stumble is the belief system. And, we're challenged. I'm challenged every day. We're challenged all the time in life. But challenge is opportunity, and that's how I see it. I turn everything around into an opportunity if you've got to grow up, if you've got to... I was a makeup artist, who didn't know the first thing about how to read a P&L. I had to teach myself. But it's not complicated. For me, actually, most people, it sort of looks scary, but actually... it's pretty easy. And so I think fear is the biggest blocker in life. And I think that thing of feel the fear and do it anyway and just put your best foot forward in life. And that's as good as you can do. And what people don't realise is one step, then another step, then another step. And before you know it, you've got to a great place. And it's persistence and it's never giving up. I've had so many challenges along the way of not thinking I would make it or not thinking I would do it. But it's that thing of just never stop believing. And, obviously you can't lie on your sofa. You don't even have a fag. You've got to
But I think what you did was you worked out what you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And walked backwards. And
Correct.
I think what lots of people do...
write your future.
...is you're looking at the next step as opposed to going, well, no. If the goal is this, well, what do I have to do? Okay, well, then to do that, I'd have to be here. Then I'd have to try that. I'd have to do this. And then you go, okay, well, all I need to do is get to that step, but know that it's walking on the path to this.
Exactly right, James, because what I've done, I did this at the beginning of my brand, when I talk about manifestation and creative visualization, I wrote down what I would achieve over the next 10 years. And actually, if I look back at my life, I've always written down and manifested where I want to be. And I think write your future. And then when you write your future, exactly as you're saying, you can then work backwards to see, okay, I need to achieve this step or that step or whatever, but you know where the end goal is. And sometimes you don't know the steps. For me, I always knew I wanted a brand. So then I thought, okay, I'm going to be a makeup artist and I'm going to hone my craft. So I then became a creative director working for different brands. I worked for the gorgeous, amazing friend Tom Ford, and I worked for Helena Rubinstein, who's again, one of my great idols. So I had a little bit of a history, but it was their brands. It wasn't my brand. I was just there as a creative director. And then I went on, as I'd honed my craft and worked with the laboratories and come up with these ideas, I kept this book of concepts and ideas, and I designed my shops and I designed the consumer journey, and I saw the white space and I wanted to demystify it and I wanted to empower them, because it was a very much at the time, if you think about the beauty industry at the time, it was very black counters.
Is that Chanel? Is that the success of Chanel that you think?
You know what, actually, it's quite interesting you say that. Probably, actually. It had a huge effect on everything. Everything sort of ended up...
That's sort of black and white.
Very simple.
Yeah.
Straight counters, don't come in, don't empower the consumer to choose. And so it wasn't easy to choose. It wasn't easy to use. In a way, it wasn't easy to gift either. And so it was sort of actually being a makeup artist, being an expert, realising that a lot of the products that I was using, I was frustrated myself. And then people would then say to me, I want to look like whoever I was working on at the time, whether it's Giselle Bunch and Kate Moss, whoever it was. And I'd be like, they'd be like, I can never look like that. And I'd be like, actually, you can. And I realised trying to put kits together for them, it was too complicated, because actually I would mix things with mixing mediums because they weren't quite efficient enough. And they sat in the lines and pores, etc. And so I really kind of saw this white space and being able to kind of, come up with incredible products, revolutionary products that actually, that type of disruptive thinking is always kind of, I'm like, well, just because it's done a certain way for 100 years, why does it have to be done that way? So working with my labs, and, it might take sort of 10 or 20 years. As I said, sometimes I'm lucky it takes a couple of years. But I am a perfectionist. I'm really proud of to get Charlotte Tilbury signature on something. For me, it is like giving birth to these products that I know are going to really empower women and men to feel their most beautiful, wonderful selves, because life is about confidence. And I know every single day when I wake up in the morning, because I'm a bit of a 24-hour girl, kind of maybe don't sleep enough, or I'm working too much, we're living in generation exhaustion.
Go on, how much do you sleep a night?
Do you know what? I sleep more than you think. I probably sleep 6 or 7 hours, but obviously sometimes not at all. I mean, I like to party.
I've seen you at parties. You are always in what appears to be the funnest group.
Oh, thank you.
Do you know what I mean?
I like to have fun and laugh. We love to laugh, don't we? Laughter is the tonic of life.
If we're going to talk about parties, let's move on to your music selection, because I love this song that you've chosen. Tell us the track you wanted to talk about today.
It's The Source, Candy Staton, You've Got the Love.
Sometimes I feel like throwing my hands up in the air. I know I can count on you.
Kate Moss and I always argue about it's our favourite song. And when I had this fragrance called Scent of the Dream, we did that as that was the song. We just danced and danced and danced. And when we did that commercial, we were dancing till 3 a.m. We just couldn't get enough. It's just this utter sense of euphoria. But I love it because I think life is about love.
Sometimes I feel like throwing my hands up in the air. But you've got the love I need to see me through.
I can't imagine you having a down day.
No, do you know what? I don't really have down days.
How have you managed to do that? Tell me how.
Okay, so can I get frustrated? Yes. Am I human? Yes, we're human. That's what we go through. But on the whole, I wake up really positive, and I've trained my mind to think positive thoughts. If there's a negative thought that comes in, bash them out and just be like, look in the mirror. You're gorgeous. You're amazing. Even when the stuff comes in, the frustration or whatever comes in, you still got to just go back to that thing and just keep on believing. And that's when I said to you, dare to dream it, dare to believe it, dare to do it. Conceive, believe. The biggest thing is believe, receive. And it really works. Conceive, believe, receive.
You're such a master marketer.
Thank you.
It's an extraordinary skill. You touched on it before. You're talking about disrupting just even the colours, the look, the feel. How do you come up with, am I right? Is it a fragrance? Is it called Wild Sex?
More sex.
More sex. Now, is
more
this
sex, darling.
that you put
Just
it
spray
on?
some now.
Now, I'm going to have to put this on and then go home to my wife.
You will be irresistible.
Will I be irresistible, or is she going to think I've had more sex without her being there?
I think...
Or
she's just...
No, I'm not talking about actual sex. A menage a as I like to call it. So hang on. Okay, so I'm spraying on more sex right now.
More sex, so you can smell the leather, the musk, sandalwood, all of that. So it's got emotional boosting molecules. Do you know that 75% of how we feel...
I fear I've put this on too early in the show. Oh, I like that. That's great.
So our emotions are dictated to by our brain, basically. And so 75% of what we smell affects our emotions. And so I've created this fragrance collection of emotions, and we've got kind of Joyphoria here, which is a bit of joy and euphoria in one bottle. And Love Frequency, because, life is all about love. And Magic Energy, a bit of cosmic power, a bit of calm bliss. We need it all. And so what these do basically is that they act like pheromones. So when you smell something, it goes straight to that limbic part of the brain, which then tells you a sense of seduction, irresistibility when you're spraying on more sex, or joy and happiness when you're smelling the jasmine that's been captured, and the ylang-ylang, the vanilla that's in Joyphoria. The molecules have been put in, a bit like BFG, have been put into the fragrance.
That's amazing. I think what's incredible about you, which I'm realising now, is that you are only thinking about the customer. You are only thinking about how can I service their life and make it better.
I love you, James. Yes, I'm incredibly passionate about what I do, because I know part of the reason I wanted to create this brand was all these women saying to me, I can never look like that. I can never look like Penelope Cruz. I can never look like Kate Moss. I never look like Jennifer Aniston, whatever. And I'm like, yes, you can. Everyone is gorgeous. Everyone is a genius. Everyone is beautiful. And actually, if they just have the tips and the tricks, celebrities don't come from a different planet. We all wake up with bags and different things and, want glowing skin and bigger, brighter eyes and kind of gorgeous, luscious lips. And, they have makeup artists. They have access to things. And
I know, I feel like a lot of people don't know that.
Yes.
I feel like there's a lot of people don't really understand or see the volume of work that goes into the way that some people are portrayed publicly. And I don't think I realised until I was doing my show in America and some actresses, models, whatever, would arrive, we'd tape at 5 and they'd arrive at 1:30 to start this process. It's an intimate job you've had.
It's a very intimate job. And I think, that's why I think it's very empowering. You become very close with people very quickly because you're right in their personal, intimate space. Almost as if you were, probably wouldn't get that close to someone unless you were, kissing them. But, because you are that close, up close and personal. And you're in their energy field and you're in their space. And so you really get to know each other very intimately, very quickly. And it's a wonderful experience. I have to say it's been a real privilege for me and a real honour to get to know people in that way and be there at certain times in their life, whether it's their wedding day or they're kind of getting an Oscar or, they're walking, all these different kind of moments. I feel very honoured and very privileged. And I have to say, so many of the people I've worked with, they are truly wonderful people and very inspiring.
Can you think of one person where you've been involved in making them up on a particularly significant day in their life that you remember very vividly?
Kate Moss at her wedding day. Kate Moss has so many different kind of moments. Kate Moss at her 30th, Kate Moss at her 34th. I mean, just different kind of moments with her. So many fun nights and magical moments with her. And Amal Clooney, I think, again, wedding day, just that. It was amazing to be there with them at those moments where, they kind of feel probably the love, the magic, the feeling. They're very important days. They are.
There's an interesting energy, isn't there? It's that sort of moment of silence before a cacophony of noise.
Yes.
What sort of environment does Kate Moss want? Is it music? Is it quiet?
It's always music.
Oh, really?
Always music.
Really?
Always music. We love music. That's why we both love the Candy Staton song. You've Got the Love, and that's our favourite. It's always music. Just music. Because again, frequencies. Life is about energy. As Einstein said, match the frequency of the reality you want, and you will get that reality. There can be no other way. What I love about makeup and what I love about skincare is that both of those things really affect the way people feel. I'm so passionate because we are a visual race. We judge ourselves. And so if you look in the mirror in the morning and you're just judging yourself you go, yeah, I'm knackered. Yeah, I've got bags. Yeah, my skin's a bit dehydrated, whatever. Or my lines are showing, whatever it is, whatever anyone's kind of complaint is, or I've got my sun damage, whatever it is. I hear all sorts of things from women all the time. And actually, you just put that, magic cream on, you put your Magic Away on, you put your Hollywood Flawless filter, you put your glow on, and you're like, I am fabulous.
But what do men do? Tell me that. So what do men do? And do you think we will ever get to a place where it will be completely acceptable for men to be makeup, shadow, all those things?
Absolutely. And my God, I now meet more people when I'm out who are alpha male men that kind of don't come from Hollywood. Obviously, everyone in Hollywood has had that experience of having their makeup done, realising the power of great skincare, great makeup, what it does and how fantastic it is. And now everyone's like, well, I want a bit of that. You have a big male consumer with magic cream. It always starts with the women kind of wearing magic cream and then the men going, Christ, that looks good. And then just putting their big paws in the pot and stealing the magic cream from the women. Kind of George Clooney wears it just as much as Amal Clooney wears it, whatever. It kind of, men deserve for their skin. I think people really are conscious of their skin. I suppose we're living in a world where climate change, we're aging 10 years faster than we used to.
Are we?
Yeah, we are.
Really?
Yeah. Even
We're
water's more,
10?
because water's more polluted as well.
Yeah.
So when you put the water on your face, it dehydrates it much more than it used to. The sun damage, it's much stronger, the sun, than it used to be.
Is that why I look 46 when I'm actually 29?
Darling,
is that
you
why?
look 29, darling, because you've got Charlotte Tilbury magic. When you got that glow, darling, you look 29. There's a gorgeousness.
Let's move on to your person. And I'm very interested to talk about this. Tell us the person you've chosen to talk about on the show today.
Steve Jobs.
Why?
Because what I love about Steve Jobs is he wanted to put a ding in the universe. That's a pretty amazing thing to come to this planet with and say, I want to put a ding in the universe. And he was dyslexic, which so am I. He thought differently. He broke the mold in so many different ways. He was consumer obsessed. I never knew him, so I say all these things as if I kind of, reading a bit about him and seeing what he did with Apple in so many different ways and Pixar and everything. I think that thinking differently and not conforming. He did that whole thing with the crazy ones, that whole advertising campaign about the crazy ones. And if you're crazy enough to think differently, you'll leave your mark in the world. You'll kind of, you will make a difference. And so I think that for me, that non-conformity, that creative thinking, he understood also he was a brilliant marketeer. He understood he was customer obsessed. He understood simplicity in a great way. And he understood emotional marketing. He understood emotional connectivity of the human race and how we connect is the best form of marketing. So really understanding that customer and the simplicity and that think differently. I think for me, it was the daring. He dared, that whole motto I have of daring to dream it, daring to believe it, and then daring to do it. He did it, which then goes back to my whole thing of manifestation and positive thinking and always training your mind. I'm constantly training my mind. I mean, probably to the day that I die, but keep the positivity going, never give up, all that kind of belief and writing down your manifestation goals, which I did as a child, which I did with my brand. Actually, we wrote a fake article. It was hilarious. My CEO and I, Dimitra, that we kind of put in the FT of a certain valuation of our company of kind of 5 paragraphs of everything we would achieve and disrupt in the beauty industry. Because when we first started, it was really owned by 5 big conglomerates, faceless conglomerates in a way. And I remember launching in Selfridges and them saying to me, you're really brave to be doing this. 5 people own this world. And I was like, well, why? There's a massive white space. There's a massive gap in the market for products that are easy to choose, easy to use, effective.
So hang on, you wrote a fake article that you would read about yourself one day in the Financial Times.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if people know this. You are the founder, chairman, president, and chief creative officer of your company. Was there any hesitation in putting yourself so front and centre of your brand? Did it ever cross your mind to go, we're going to call it Mystique? You know what I mean?
For me, it genuinely, believe it or not, I am very altruistic. I want people to feel great. Did it start with me finding a way? Do most entrepreneurs start with themselves and go, I had a problem and then I found a solution to it. And actually it's a customer needs state. And then actually I found this great thing that I then want to give to everyone.
Yeah.
And I made a career out of it and I gave it to all these amazing celebrities. But why should it just exist in this very VIP world for just a certain cohort of people? I want to give this to everyone because I want everyone to shine like a star. And being an expert and then being able to put yourself forward and go to the YouTube channel and give your secrets away. And also we didn't have much money at the beginning of the brand. So the way that I had to communicate with my consumers
it had to be you.
Is it had to be me. I had to use social media, Instagram, YouTube. There was no other way. We didn't have the budgets. And also I was an expert makeup artist. That's what I had trained for, now 33 years. Back then it was 20 years. It wasn't about making myself, more famous or whatever. That just wasn't my mission.
Complete sense when you
it wasn't
say
my
that.
purpose.
It
just wasn't my purpose. And it never has been. It's about, I found something that empowered me. I found something that empowered a lot of people. I saw the magic when they were sitting in my makeup chair. I saw how they changed. I have my own study of 33 years of seeing people and seeing them come in just exhausted, tired, and you can feel that heaviness. And then you put the makeup on, you put the glow, you open up the eyes, lips, you give them that beautiful kind of, they are beautiful, it's them. But it's just, and they look in the mirror and you just see they get more energy. They smile more, they're confident. That empowerment, that is wonderful to see. And to give that to everyone, that was honestly, it's the reason I am still so passionate about what I do every single day. It's why I'm never going to give up. I know how amazing it's been for me and how much it changes my life every single day. And I also know from the people who write to me, women and men sometimes in not great situations, who've clung to that lipstick, because we're all about beautiful before and beautiful after. You are beautiful regardless. But actually, they're probably training their brain as well as putting on that lipstick at the same time.
Yeah.
And as they're doing that, they're feeling really great about themselves. And we talked about frequency and vibration and energy. And I think there's a massive connection between when people look in the mirror, that makeup is making them feel great. And by feeling great, the positive chat starts in the mind. And then all that positivity starts going, I am gorgeous, I look amazing, I look fabulous. And they walk into a room more confident, they're feeling great. People pick up on it because that is so powerful. And if we all just felt better in the world, let's get rid of this negativity, let's get rid of so much stuff that's going on out there. And we're all amazing. We can achieve whatever we want to achieve. And that's really honestly what I feel. And that's honestly why I do what I do.
I love that. Let's move on to your final selection. We're going to end on your memory. I really love that you've chosen this. Tell us the memory you wanted to talk about.
Receiving my MBE from the late Queen, fabulous Elizabeth II.
Amazing that you received.
Oh, what a treat. I was so lucky on my lucky day, the 13th. That was amazing. I have to say, to be recognised by her, I talk about empowering women and amazing women that have left their mark in the world, her queen and country, for what you've achieved is really a humbling, euphoric, amazing gratitude coming out of everywhere kind of moment.
Who did you take with you to
I took my
Buckingham
parents.
Palace? Was it Windsor or Buckingham Palace?
It was Buckingham Palace. Actually, it was hilarious. I took my parents and my husband.
Amazing day for your parents.
Amazing day for your parents. Of course, I chat in the queue, and then when I got there, couldn't remember, was I meant to curtsy this way, that way, suddenly forgot everything, had a brain blank, and then met the Queen, and then just talked to her about how I'd created a lipstick called The Queen, and I'd written to her office and I'd got permission, and we had the corgis and it had gone viral, and and the colour, and I kind of studied this colour that kind of I'd done for her and talked to her about that and how amazing that was, and how much she inspired me. And my mum was like, darling, did you let her talk? But she was amazing. And when I mentioned the corgis and the lipstick, these gorgeous little piercing blue eyes just lit up. And that was amazing. She gave me this beaming smile. She was just charming and amazing. And she was just, obviously congratulating me for everything I'd achieved. But I have to say, when you work as hard as we do, when you have big dreams, it's not work in a way because you're passionate about it and you love it, which is probably why you'll do an 18-hour day, or sometimes kind of, just go and go and go, because it's so exciting and it's so fun and it's really not work. And I have to say, all of that culminating in that amazing moment to be honoured was euphoric. It was amazing. I mean, I still could get teary and emotional about it now. It was incredible. It was incredible.
Let's just an MBE for anyone listening who doesn't know is a member of the Order of the British Empire, and that's you become a member, then an officer, then a commander, and then a dame. And I'm saying we go straight to the dame.
Darling, aren't you a commander, darling?
I'm an officer, babe. I'm not a commander.
Darling,
I'm an officer. I'm an officer. But what was quite good...
Of course you are an officer. And
what was quite good is when I got my OB, it was when I was hosting my show in America, and I just came back and people went, so are you a sir now? And I just go, yes, I am.
Yes. Brilliant. Well, thank you.
Should we start that now?
We would love that. Yes, please.
Should we start that movement? Dame Charlotte Tilbury, and you should receive it from King Charles.
Oh, we love him. Actually, King Charles is amazing. I work with...
He uses your magic cream, right?
Who doesn't use the magic cream? But yeah, King Charles is amazing. I mean, actually, I work with with now the King's Trust, used to call the Prince's Trust. He's just amazing. I think what he's done for this country, how he's helped so many young entrepreneurs achieve their dreams in so many ways. And I have to say, it's an honour and a privilege to work with his charity and him. He's amazing.
Dame Charlotte Tilbury.
Oh, I love you.
Your place is Ibiza. Your possession is your logbook from the School of Ra. Your music is You Got the Love by The Source featuring Candy Staton. Your person is Steve Jobs. And your memory is receiving your MBE from Her Majesty the Queen. Thank you so much for sharing this life of yours.
It was fabulous. It was intimate. It was real. James, you're fabulous.
Next week is this.
I'm Michael Bublé. Welcome to this life of mine. Sex had a lot to do with it for me as a kid, the wanting to kiss a girl and da-da. And it was like, I remember at my high school, Caribou Hill, a girl opened up a locker and she had a photo of Harry Connick Jr. and there was lipstick marks all over it. And I remember I was like, this is so very good for me. The guy in the suit was a creation of a record company. The guy, that thing that your grandma loves, that isn't me.
Sure.
It never was me. I'm from Burnaby.
Right.
I'm the son of a fisherman who worked on a fishing boat. Snoop Dogg and I, we like each other because we're way more similar than we are different. We'll do it together.
Ah.
A little bit of me and a whole lot of you. I add a dash of starlight and a dozen roses too.
Then let it rise for 100 years or two. And that's the recipe for making love. It doesn't need sugar, cause it's already sweet. It doesn't need an oven, cause it's got a lot of heat. Oh, just add a dash of kisses and you can make it all complete. And that's the recipe for making love.
Man.
If you haven't subscribed to Lemonada Premium yet, now is the perfect time. You can listen to This Life of Mine completely ad-free. Plus, you'll unlock exclusive quickfire rounds of questions with all of my guests. They're all in 2 minutes or less. Just tap that subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or head to lemonadapremium.com to subscribe on any other app. Or you can listen ad-free on Amazon Music with your Prime membership. That's lemonadapremium.com. Don't miss out.